So I want to take a second today to go over this window air conditioner that was recently sent out to me about a week ago to try out and test in my space. Now this is made by Antarctic Star. This is their 8,000 BTU unit. These do come in a few different sizes. Now this particular one, being 8K, is rated to cool up to 350 square feet. That should effectively be most of your bedrooms, your living rooms, maybe a dorm room, something like that. If you decided you need something that could cover a little bit more space, these units do come as big as 12,000 BTU and as small as 5,000 BTU if you've got a smaller space you're trying to cool as well. Now once you get this thing ordered up and you get the size you need, when it arrives at your doorstep, you're going to see that it comes in a very nice heavy duty cardboard box. And once you get this thing out of the box and get it unpackaged, there's really not a lot of assembly that goes to it. You'll essentially get your main unit here, as well as your top rail, your side louvers, and then a couple parts to permanently install this to your window. If you've never installed one of these before, it's a pretty straightforward process. You're basically just going to put your top rail across the unit here. That's screwed in with 4 screws. All the holes are there for you. You simply just have to line those up and run the screws in. Once you get that done, then you'll install your side louvers here on your left and right. You're basically just going to extend your accordion all the way out and then slide it down the side of your unit, and then slide your top and bottom brackets through the corresponding holes in your brackets here. If you're going to install this for the whole summer, it's going to be in the winter for quite some time, you're going to want to use the supplied foam on the top and bottom to kind of help further seal the window up when you put the AC unit in. And that's going to help you with bugs getting in and out of your house, as well as your cold air going outside instead of staying in the room you want to cool. Now for me in my room right now, because I'm going to be running this in multiple spaces, and right now I'm actually in the middle of a remodel in this particular space, and I've got this up here just kind of help me supplement and keep it a little bit cooler and more bearable while I'm up here working until I get the room done. And then this unit's going to live down in my shop where I've got a freezer room for my farm operation, and because those freezers run full time, that room gets a little on the warmer side, and this particular unit here will kind of help keep that room cool and a little bit more bearable for me at that point in time. And with that room being less than the 350 square foot, this unit should have no problem at all keeping that room cool. Now let's take a second to go over some of the features that this AC unit has to offer. Now if you've ever owned one of these window AC units, it's a pretty standard run-of-the-mill in terms of what it's going to do for you. Effectively, they not only cool the air, you can essentially run them as a standalone fan, but it also pulls the humidity and moisture out of the air as well, making it a dehumidifier at the same time. Now once you get this unit turned on, you hit the power button here on your display, and the unit will turn on and effectively run until it reaches the desired temperature in the room and then shut itself off. And then at that point in time, it'll kick on and off based on the demand that you have for that unit at the time. Now the other features that are on the front of this display are going to be your fan speed, which you can run on low, medium, high, as well as the auto speed. You do have a filter button here, which we'll talk about here in just a second. You have an eco mode, which is going to be great for those spring and fall type months where you're not really needing a ton of demand from the unit. Like in the summer months where you're trying to reach max efficiency. So you could put this on the eco mode if the temperature is a little bit more bearable outside, and it'll work the unit a little less and the power consumption would be a little on the better side. And then you also have a timer, so if you just set this before you went to bed and you wanted to cool the space, or if you wanted it to shut off maybe a couple hours after you went to work, something like that, you had that option available as well. Now everything I just mentioned on this front control panel is also on this remote as well. So essentially you've got your power button, your cool button, you have your sleep, your auto mode, your fan only, eco. It's all right here, easily operable from this remote. So if you're laying in bed in the middle of the night and you want to change the temperature or one of the settings, you don't have to get out of bed. You can just do it right here from the remote. Or if you're sitting at your desk and you don't want to get up or you're on the phone, you can simply operate your unit from the remote. And so far, I've been able to get about 40 foot of range out of this across the room, clear line of sight, and this remote still works just fine from the unit. Now, as I mentioned, this is an 8,000 BTU unit. The space I'm using it in, when it's all finished and closed in, it's going to be 350 square feet. The room is actually completely spray foamed across the ceiling, but this room does actually go the length of the house currently until I get it finished. To give you an idea of just how well this unit does, on an 80-some degree day, I threw a thermometer up here while I was working. In over a 3-hour period while I was working, I was able to bring the temperature down from around 83, 84 degrees, all the way down to about 72, 73. So I was able to cool this whole space around 700 square foot in the matter of about 3 hours. I think that's pretty decent considering that's more than double that the unit's capable of. Now when I put this down in my freezer room though, I have a room for my farm operation where we keep a bunch of freezers all together, and that room builds up a lot of heat just because of all those freezers working all the time. This unit being in that room, which that room's only about 275 square feet, this unit is more than capable of running that with no problem at all. And the unit barely even runs, to be honest. Once it cools the room off, the cycle times are at a pretty far interval apart. Now, I told you I mentioned the maintenance on this thing. It is important to keep these things clean, especially if you have this in a dustier environment. So in my case, where I'm at right now, I'm making a habit of checking this from time to time just to make sure I don't have any sawdust in my unit. But when you pull this front cover off like this, you'll see this cover just simply comes off and you've got a filter right here. And you'll just want to take that out from time to time, make sure that's nice and clean, blow that out with an air hose, something something like that. And then you'll be back and running again. But the more important part is just to keep the inside coils clean so they can run at their peak performance at all times. Moving up here to the louvers, you've got 2 louvers on the front of this. You can move these things up and down as well as left and right. So depending on how you want to direct the air in your room, that's completely up to you. And this unit does run on just your typical 120 outlet as well, so you can plug this into any outlet in your house. It is important though to make sure you don't have something else that has a lot of heavy amperage draw on that outlet or on that breaker in your house, because this unit will pull somewhere around 8 amps. So if you're trying to run something else that's also quite a bit demanding on a 15 amp or 20 amp circuit, you could risk tripping your breaker at that point in time. So try to put this on a standalone circuit if at all possible. Now, supplied with this AC unit also is the hardware that's necessary to permanently mount this to the window. Now, as I mentioned, I'm not permanently mounting this currently at the moment because I am kind of shuffling it around from room to room, but they do give you these options here to be able to essentially secure your window down to the unit as well as your louvers to the side of your window to kind of lock it in and keep it protected so it won't fall out of the window. Now, I'm not a big fan of drilling holes in my windows personally, so what I've done, for at least for now anyways, is just put a couple 2x4 blocks that I put up in the window to kind of jam in there and keep my window from being able to open up any further. And that'll securely keep my unit in the window here. They actually sell parts that you can clamp to your window essentially as well that you could pick up that are sold separately. So if you're not real keen on drilling a hole in your window, just keep in mind that it does come with that necessary hardware, but there might be other options that you might want to pursue as well. As far as the noise level goes as well, I think it's right on par with everything I've heard out there. In fact, I put a sound meter on it just to kind of get an idea of what it was running. It's around 75 to 80 dB, which isn't too bad. To give you an idea, your typical ceiling fan is somewhere around 40 to 60 dB. So it is a little bit louder than your ceiling fans are going to be on high. But you should also be able to sleep at night or talk over this at the same time. It shouldn't keep you up at night. You should be able to have a comfortable conversation at the same time. Other than that, I think that's all I got for in this little video today, guys. I hope that was somewhat helpful for you in making a decision as to whether this unit made by Antarctic Star is right for you. We'll catch you guys on the next one.